Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I've been meaning to make this for quite some time, but to be honest, I was procrastinating a little bit, but we're here in the end finally. But I just want to welcome you in. I see on the board here, it says welcome. But yeah, I just want to introduce myself firstly as the first video. Let you guys know a bit more about me. Raw footage, no fluff, no editing. Just purely raw footage of me describing my background, and how I got to where I am today, where I am now, an OFM agency owner. It wasn't always like that. I had my own struggles, my own experiences, and my own stepping stones to get to where I am today. But let's start off. I'm 18 years old. It's April 2026. I am 18 years old. I was born in an Albanian working class family. Both my parents were immigrants, and we did grow up struggling. I used to watch them struggle quite a lot to pay the bills, and I think that's where my ambition really sparks from. Seeing them struggle with the bills constantly as I grew up, and it made me want to be more of like a prodigy to my family almost. The one guy in the family, in the generation of my bloodline, to actually make a lot of money. And that's where my hunger and drive really came from, I believe. But let's start off where it all began. I was actually kicked out of college at one point. I was actually at the time before I got kicked out, I had joined sales. I wanted to learn sales because I understood the skill set, had done a cold calling role, and when I did get this cold calling role, I had this massive ego boost. And this was the first lesson that I learned. Ego blocks growth. Very good quote that I like to use. And the reason why I say that is because it really stops you from being humble enough to sit down and listen to someone else educate you. And I believe learning from others that are where you want to be is so, so crucial. And obviously, having an ego kind of stops that because you're like, oh, well, who are you to tell me what to do? You have to really eliminate that mindset. It's always good to gain more knowledge because you never know what someone else might know that you don't. But anyways, back on topic. Because of that, I was actually expelled from college. I got in a fight, got kicked out immediately, and I was in a pretty bad spot. But that was the moment where it all started. 17 years old, I was so motivated to get into the online space. I had bought a course to learn deeper of the sales psychology and the skill set that I wanted to acquire. So I was doing that for 6 months. And although I gained the skill set that I wanted, I didn't really have the money. I was making 200, not even £200 a month, like zero. I made no money. I made no money for 6 months. I made £200 in the fifth month, but it wasn't enough. The course that I had bought just couldn't provide me with the roles, and I was really struggling. And it's always 2025. The journey has been rough, and I had come to the conclusion that maybe it's the end of my sales journey and I might need to go back to uni and recalibrate what I'm going to do next. But I was pretty stressed. I didn't know what to do. Honestly, I was stuck. I was lost, and the one goal that I had in mind, I didn't achieve, and that was the financial freedom. Obviously, for those watching now, financial freedom could be different for you, but financial freedom was for me was to take care of my family, take care of people around me, travel, and of course take care of myself. You got to treat yourself every now and then. But I just couldn't achieve that with sales, so I moved on. But that was before I did decide to fully go to uni. I was in Albania at the time, and I got a message in the group chat, and it was for a job post. And the job post was for a sales manager for an OnlyFans management agency doing six figures a month. And I laughed. I thought OnlyFans was a joke. I never really took it serious. But I dug deep, and to be honest, I still applied to it as a joke. I know I said it's a joke, but I honestly did. I didn't really see that to come from much. But I decided to apply for it just because why not? I was a bit desperate. And I ended up getting the role. I became a sales manager. And I honestly feel like God put that in front of my eyes. Because otherwise I would have went to uni. I would have went to uni. I would have never became the person I am today. So I do thank God that I was given that opportunity to get back into the online space. And that is how I entered the OnlyFans management space. And that is where I actually achieved my first 5K per month. Seeing that you really open your eyes and realize that money is not real. Money is everywhere, but you're not looking the right places. And going down the traditional route of uni, sometimes that isn't for everyone. I honestly feel like if you want a specific job in life, fair enough. But for me personally, I want to be a business owner. I want to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to do things. I wanted to make a name for myself. And I feel like that couldn't be achieved through going down the traditional route of uni. And yeah, me joining this role though, it also came with, its pros and cons. I was under very high stress, which is why I have a very high stress tolerance to this day, but I was working 13-hour days. I'd never worked this hard in my life, and it was honestly crazy. I had projects here, left, right, centre, building SOPs. I had to manage sales teams. I was coaching, training, and I was being mentored as well by the top guys in the OFM space. They taught me quite a lot about the whole sales side of things, and that's where I've gotten most of my knowledge from today. That experience alone gave me a lot of knowledge, and I'm really grateful for that. But it didn't really end up too well. Two to 3 months later, I got fired because I couldn't handle the workload. And to be honest, they expected quite a lot of me. I was 18 years old, freshly 18 years old, and dealing with that, like, it's hard, But I still managed to do it, and I know for a fact a lot of other 18-year-olds couldn't go through that, like what I went through. What I went through, a lot of people can't go through that, and I'm glad that I had the experience. I'm grateful for that. So I use that as leverage. But when I got fired, honestly, it was a bad day. To be honest, I was told on my last Zoom call with my CEO, and he told me, "Joe, you're gone." And I just ended the phone. I went outside for a walk, and I cried. To be honest, because it generally hit me quite bad. I honestly thought all that I worked for was over. My journey has ended here, and I'm never going to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I'm never going to achieve what I came into the online space for. And that really broke me to pieces, because that's, not gonna lie, that was one of the only things I wanted to live for. I wanted to actually help my family. I feel like I had no other choice but to strive in the online space. But then I got a text from the marketing director of that company, who also did provide me with that role because he'd posted in the network. But he was in my network, we was good friends, I knew him. And he texted me, he's like, "Am I right?" And I appreciate it a lot, because at the time I was quite lonely. I had no one else to really talk to, so him asking and checking up on me was really nice of him. And he did call me as well. We went on a call and we discussed what happened. I told him, like, I tried my best, I really did, and it just didn't work. But then he decided to help me out, because he said to me once, and I always remember this, you're young and you have a lot of potential, but all you need to do is you need to harvest that potential. And that's exactly what I did from that point on. I harvested my potential. But he connected me with a few guys. He said that he was mentoring them and he needed help with their client acquisitions. So I was like, cool. I was really down, but I knew I had to keep going. But this was now my second chance into making it out in the online space. So I did it, and I succeeded finally. I joined, I learned how to really create cold outbound systems, and I started to get them clients consistently. And I was building a very good relationship with the guy as well, and we both came to the conclusion we liked each other. We were quite like-minded. He was good at something else, and I was bad at something else. And we decided, why don't we just partner? And we just collaborated. And now, coming to this day today, now I'm an OnlyFans agency owner, and we decided that was the best course of action. Now, since then, it's been going up. But yeah, that was basically my whole journey till then. But of course, as you see, the struggles and the suffering really do make you who you are, and that's what's really made me. That's who I am. I am what my suffering has created me to be. And although it was hard experiences to go through, I still am happy that I went through them. I know that God gave me those experiences for a reason, so I could learn from and use it as leverage. But yeah, I'll probably wrap up from there. That's a bit of a deeper dive into me. But of course, I do want to get to know everyone that subscribes to me. So I've got a few links. I've got my YouTube, my Telegram, and also my agency page as well. So do feel free to follow those as well. And if you have any questions or any content requests you want me to really look deep into, do feel free to comment or honestly message me as well on Instagram. My DMs are always open. I'll be posting a lot of OFM value as well. I really want to focus on giving back to the community because I know there is quite a lot of generic advice out there in the YouTube videos, and I want to just give out my knowledge for free, to be honest, because I've heard all the generic advice. I've scoured the internet, and it's honestly just pointless. It doesn't help anyone. So I'm going to be posting actual value. But I hope you enjoy the content. Again, if you have anything you want me to look at specifically, sales wise, do feel free to comment down below or message me at all. But until then, catch you later.